Okay, my dear children, today we are going to start with lesson number 8 from your moment's book. The name of the chapter is A House is Not a Home. So, my dear children, in this lesson, we will come to understand about the features of the teenager, about the characteristics of the teenager, and the kind of the challenges that they have to face. आज जो हम लेसन सीखेंगे, ये लेसन में अभी का बात किया जाएगा आपका उम्र में क्या क्या चैलेंजेस होता है, क्या क्या चुनौती होता है, और वो चुनौती मतलब कब सॉल्व होता है. All these things will come to understand from this lesson through this autobiographical story, that is, a house is not a home. So, my dear children, let us see what is autobiographical. Autobiographical. Autobiographical means what? It talks about the self of the author. It talks about the author herself through her own life, through her own stage of life. She wants to give to the masses that these are the challenges that normally the teenager face in their life and how to overcome all this. Therefore, this is a good lesson, and from this lesson we will come to understand. So now, my dear children, so as a teenager, so what does this teenager exactly mean? Teenager is the stage of the life of the children, starting from the age 13 to the year 19. Means this is the duration, this is the 7 years duration, that is a teenager, and this teenager actually faces a lot of struggle in their life. So what are the struggle? So they are, the first thing is that they are very much concerned about their self-esteem. They are very much concerned about their self-esteem or self-respect. है ना, उनका मतलब क्या होता है कि मतलब ईगो जो होता है वो ज्यादातर हर्ट हो जाता है. So if anybody say scold them, if anybody rebuke them, then they are greatly hurt, and many time they become very much gloomy, है ना, they become very much what? Sad. They become very much sad. And in this particular stage, we also see that they like what? They like the company. Okay? They like the company of a human being, means their own friend. If the friend are there, then it's everything is so okay. If they do not have the friend, then they will be suffering from what? They will be suffering from isolation. Isolation. They will be suffering from what? They will be suffering from loneliness. And this loneliness is so a dangerous disease that a teenager can hardly come out of it. Okay, this is the greatest disease, particularly for the teenager. So they like the company, and their company is everything for them. Means when they are in the company, as if they are in their own self. उसका जो ओरिजिनल सेल्फ होता है वो सेल्फ तभी होता है जब वो कंपनी में रहते हैं. जब नहीं रहते हैं तब क्या होगा? तब उनका बहुत सारे क्राइसिस, मेंटल क्राइसिस शुरू हो जाते हैं. देयरफॉर टीनेजर के लिए सबसे बड़ी जो चैलेंज है नॉट गेटिंग टू द फ्रेंड. तो माय डियर चिल्ड्रन, अब देखिए, सो हमारा नवोदय सिस्टम में मतलब क्या होता है कि ये जो लैटरल एंट्री होता है ना, लैटरल एंट्री का एक मतलब प्रोसेस है लैटरल एंट्री. सो लैटरल एंट्री में क्या होता है कि मतलब क्लास 9 एंड 11 में सो नया बच्चा आते हैं, स्टेट बोर्ड से ज्यादातर आते हैं, तो वो बच्चा को हम स्पेशल केयर देते हैं. किस लिए देते हैं? क्योंकि इनिशियली दे विल बी सफरिंग फ्रॉम व्हाट? दे विल बी सफरिंग फ्रॉम द फ्रेंडलेसनेस. मतलब उनका दोस्त नहीं रहेगा, तो उसको हम क्या करना पड़ेगा? मेंटल सपोर्ट देना पड़ेगा. जब हम मेंटल सपोर्ट देंगे तो वो क्या करेगा? तो then he will be encouraged. So when he will be given a lot of chances for the activities in the school curriculum and the other, when he will be given a lot of preferences, in any kind of activities into the school, then they will feel at home, and slowly and gradually there will be a kind of adaptation. There will be a kind of adaptation. तो बच्चों आप देखिए, जब आपका स्कूल मतलब चेंज हो जाते हैं, when your school is changed, then what is the major problem? So the problem is that you do not know the new atmosphere, you do not know the new friend, how to make the new friend. Okay, you feel like a very isolated person, you feel like a outcast, you feel like an outcast. Because there is nobody to care, neither the teacher, nor the friend, nor anybody, and you do not know the particular atmosphere, and therefore when the parent changes the school of the child, that also become a kind of challenge. And slowly and gradually when the child get used to it, जब ये बच्चा धीरे धीरे उसके साथ एडजस्ट करते हैं, तब क्या होता है, तो उनका सक्सेस, उनका कामयाबी शुरू हो जाती है. जब एडजस्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे तब क्या होगा, then his success all will also be obstructed. वो सक्सेस भी कंप्लीट नहीं होगा. Therefore in this lesson, my dear children, let us see initially, let us see the part. This story reflects the challenges of being a teenager and the problem of growing up. How does the author overcome his problem? तो ऐसा बोला जाता है my dear children. तो हम पहले बुक का बारे में बात करेंगे. बुक ऐसा कुछ मतलब रिसोर्स है जिसमें क्या होता है कि एक्सपीरियंस है ना, हमारा जो पूर्वज जो थे उनका जो एक्सपीरियंस है, हमारा जो एल्डर्स है उसका जो एक्सपीरियंस है, हमारा इंटेलेक्चुअल का एक्सपीरियंस मतलब उसमें शेयर होता है. तो वो एक्सपीरियंस जब हम शेयर करते हैं तब हम अलर्ट हो जाते हैं, कि हाँ, this is the way I will have to do behave in this particular new situation. Yes, so I am given this sort of training also. Many times what exactly happened? So whatever conception that the child has, whatever conception or whatever understanding or the knowledge that he has gathered from his particular atmosphere may be erroneous, may be wrong, and that is the thing will be corrected by what? By the books. And these books are therefore called the never failing friends. उसको क्या बोला जाता है? नेवर फेलिंग फ्रेंड्स बोला जाता है. और ये बुक में अभी ये जो हम अभी बुक पढ़ेंगे, ये स्टोरी पढ़ेंगे, ये स्टोरी देखो भाई, ये इतना मजेदार है, बिकॉज इट टॉक्स अबाउट यू, it talks about your problem, it talks about the solution to your problem, and it talks about a lot of logic. It talks about how to overcome all this problem. Therefore, is it not very interesting? Is it not talking about me and you? Yes, it is talking about you. Therefore, this lesson is again going to be very interesting. Therefore, my dear children, without wasting our time, let us go for the analysis. And before the analysis, so I'll be starting with the text, and I'll be starting with the first part of the text. Here we see. My first year of high school felt awkward. After leaving the junior high at the head of my class, with all the seniority that the upper grade level could afford me, it felt strange starting over as a freshman. तो अभी देखिए my dear children, कुछ वर्ड ऐसा भी होता है, ये वर्ड ही मतलब क्या है, इंडिकेट करता है, हाँ कुछ अजीब सा है ना, कुछ अजीब सा है. What is that? Strange. Strange का मतलब क्या है? Unfamiliar, है ना. Unfamiliar का मतलब क्या है? जो फ्रेंडली नहीं है, मतलब आप जानते नहीं है, मतलब it is unknown, unfamiliar, unfriendly, है ना, कुछ अजीब सा है, strange. ओके, कुछ ऐसा है कि मतलब full of fear, full of uncertainty, I do not know what will happen. So ऐसा मतलब कुछ situation है, strange, अजीब है. तो ये कब हुआ था? So now this is the time that the narrator is Jan. Jan is the writer. We will be talking about Jan. Jan is the writer, and Jan is talking about her own personal experience here. And she passed the junior school, and after getting promoted, she went to the high school. Went to the high school means a secondary school, and the first year was very awkward, है ना? अजीब सा था, कुछ अजीब सा था, कुछ मतलब क्या था? स्ट्रेंज था, है ना? कुछ मतलब स्ट्रेंज था, वियर्ड था, ओके? वियर्ड माने अजीब, नॉट नेचुरल, मतलब जो स्पॉन्टेनियस नेचुरल होता है वो ऐसा नहीं है, कुछ ना अजीब सा लगता था। अजीब क्यों, किस लिए है तो आप जानते हैं। अजीब इसलिए है कि मतलब उनका दोस्त नहीं थे। अजीब इसलिए कि है वो जो एटमॉस्फेयर थे, वो जो सराउंडिंग थे, वो एनवायरनमेंट थे, हर कुछ अजीब था, हर कुछ अननोन था, अनफैमिलियर था। After leaving the junior high at the head of my class with all the seniority that the upper grade level could afford me, it felt strange starting over as a freshman. So the writer narrator was a freshman in the high school, and after getting all sort of love, affection that the seniority of the junior class can afford, so she had to go to the high school, which was away from the junior school, and the environment was very new, and therefore the feeling was very strange, feeling was very much uncommon, unnatural, unfamiliar. The school is twice as big as my old school, and to make matters worse, my closest friends were sent to the different high school. I felt very isolated. Now see, all these words, strange, awkward, isolated, है ना? ये सारे वर्ड मतलब क्या बोलते हैं? ये वर्ड बोलते हैं ये जो टीनेजर है, टीनेज एज का जो जितना चैलेंजेस है, हर कुछ ये बोलते हैं। टीनेज नॉर्मली क्या होता है कि ना बार बार ऐसा होता है कि अरे मेरा दोस्त हमको छोड़ देगा, हम एकदम आइसोलेटेड हो जाएंगे, हम एकदम लोनली हो जाएंगे, है ना? दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ द फीलिंग, दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ द फीलिंग, ओके? लोनली हो जाएंगे, लोनली एकदम मतलब ना हम लोनली हो जाएंगे। ये देयरफॉर अभी देखिए जैन का जितना दोस्त थे, जितना मतलब फैमिलियर फ्रेंड्स थे, वो सारे फ्रेंड दूसरा स्कूल में चले गए। और ये जो स्कूल था, ये स्कूल मतलब पहले का स्कूल से मतलब ये डबल और ट्वाइस बिग मतलब था, ओके? ज्यादा बड़ा था। तो उसीलिए क्या हुआ, ये दोनों कारण के लिए पहले का स्कूल बहुत छोटा था, पहले का जितना फ्रेंड था वो फैमिलियर था, बहुत क्लोज फ्रेंड था, टीचर भी मतलब बहुत प्यार करते थे, बहुत सारे एक्टिविटी देते। लेकिन इधर जो आया पहले ईयर बहुत अजीब था, क्योंकि ये स्कूल भी बड़ा था और एनवायरनमेंट भी बिल्कुल नया सा था। She could not make any friend, and therefore the things become very worse, from bad to worse. Okay, my dear children, now we'll be going to the analysis of this lesson. Therefore, let us go to the analysis. Stay with your English teacher, Hey Jalal. So, here we go. Let us continue. Okay, my dear children, so before starting, so many times, so you have to see the back pages. You have to see the pages are where think about it. Means there will be some textual questions. You need to see these questions. So, and this question will help you for your local understanding. For your local understanding means क्या है कि उसका जो एकदम डायरेक्ट मीनिंग है local understanding. Then there will be the global understanding. Means so उसका जो इनडायरेक्ट मीनिंग है हर कुछ आप जानेंगे, है ना? तो उसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए? तो ये जो थिंक आउट है, इसमें जितना टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन है ना, पहले एक बार बढ़िया करके मतलब देख लेना चाहिए, है ना? whether it is a grammar question, whether it's a textual questions, whether it is the activity based question, all this question when you will see, then you will have the conception, and on the basis of this conception will be going further the analysis, then your understanding will certainly be better. And many times you need to see the glossary also. Okay, glossary also. Some of the very uncommon words like zombie, है ना? Zombie मतलब dull, apathetic person, apathetic. So dull, uninteresting. Apathetic means having no interest at all. Stalking to the fire means tending to the fire, है ना? So December and January, in the month of December and January, what you do? So you actually you warm yourself into the fire, and so you give the log of the wood, and then stroke the fire or paint the fire. Means you are nurturing the fire. You are nurturing the fire. That's all. सरियल, ओके, एक तो रियल होता है, दूसरा होता है सरियल. सरियल का मतलब है कि स्ट्रेंज, अजीब, बिजारी, है ना? सो पहले जो पैराग्राफ हम जो पढ़े थे उसमें भी ये सारे मतलब वर्ड है. मतलब ये लेसन में ज्यादातर क्या है? दिस आर द ट्रेड्स, दिस आर द ट्रेड्स of the teenager. Means the teenagers actually feel many times very strange kind of feeling, okay, and many times the teenager will have the kind of the addiction, maybe the addiction to the study, and maybe to the addiction to the internet, and in this way there will be a lot of attraction and the fascination for some particular field. तो ये भी है ना? वो जो वर्ड है कुछ मतलब क्या है? This is the bijari kind of world. This is the surreal kind of world. This is not the real kind of world. Means that this one, if we tell the real world, then other one will be the virtual world. है ना? Other one will be the virtual world. Means this is the virtual world we are talking about. Another word is milling around. Means moving in an aimless manner. Milling around. Suppose there is a meeting. There is a meeting or there is a gathering, and in the gathering a lot of people will be walking, okay, many times aimlessly, wandering this way, that way, to and fro, and this is called the milling around. Suppose the highest dignitary of the country, okay, like the President of India comes to a particular place, okay, the time is declared for the meeting, then people will be gathering. Means people will be milling around from different corner, okay. उसको क्या बोलते हैं? So suppose if this is the ray of light coming from the different direction, उसको क्या बोलते हैं? Converging, है ना? क्या बोलते हैं? Converging बोलते हैं, converging ray. और जो रे मतलब एक के पहले सोर्स से मतलब क्या होता है? डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन में जाते हैं, उसको क्या बोलते हैं? डाइवर्जन रेस बोलते हैं. तो आदमी अभी क्या कर रहे हैं? कन्वर्जिंग कर रहे हैं. मतलब क्या है? आदमी अभी यूनाइट हो रहे हैं, आदमी अभी इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं, है ना? इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं. तो ये दिस इज कॉल्ड मूविंग इन एन एमलेस मैनर, मींस मिलिंग अराउंड. सो माय डियर चिल्ड्रन, नाउ लेट अस कंटिन्यू. Let us go for the questions first, and then we'll be going to the analysis. What does the author notice one Sunday afternoon? तो ये बात था संडे का, है ना? What is his mother's reaction? What does she do? That means we'll come to know how many total characters are there in this particular lesson, okay, from these questions also. How does he break down in tears after the fire? Okay. How does he break down in tears after the fire? So आग के बाद उनका मतलब कैसा इमोशनल कोलैप्स हुआ था. Okay, इमोशनल एकदम ब्रेक डाउन हो गया. Okay. Why is the author deeply embarrassed that the next day into the school? Okay. So the house was into the fire. The narrator went to the school the next day, and she did not have the shoe, and therefore managed the tennis shoe or the other shoe from the relative, and therefore she felt just like a fish out of water. Which the words show his fear and insecurity. The characters and the author are very fond of each other. How has this been shown in the story? Where was the cat after the fire? Who brings it back and how. What action of the schoolmate changed the author's understanding of life and people and comfort him. Now see, so this is a kind of tragedy, है ना. आप जानते हैं ना ट्रेजेडी मतलब क्या है. ट्रेजेडी मतलब एक दुखदायक मतलब घटना है, दुखदायक स्टोरी है, जो स्टोरी का एंडिंग में क्या होता है, दुख होता है, फुल विथ अनहैप्पीनेस और सोरो, उसको मतलब क्या बोलते हैं, ट्रेजेडी बोलते हैं. Therefore her life was full of a tragedy because she lost the father, she lost what, the house, she lost the previous classmate, the teacher, the relative and other, and now she lost the cat also. Cat was the sole companion for her, only companion for her, and she was also lost when the house was gutted into the fire. है ना, house was gutted into the fire, G-U-T-T, gutted into the fire, एकदम totally become ashes, A-S-H-E-S, ashes. तो ये होने के बाद मतलब क्या हुआ, उनका जीवन में एकदम क्या आ गया, ट्रेजेडी आ गया. Therefore she told towards the end, my cat was back and so was I. तो इधर ऐसा नहीं है कि कैट वापस आ गया, हम भी वापस आ गया. हम मतलब कोई दूसरा दुनिया से मतलब वापस नहीं आया. I never went to United Kingdom or Switzerland or rather. I was there very much in the United Kingdom where the incident happened. But mentally speaking, I was living in a different world, the world of sorrows, unhappiness, tragedy, and more particularly depression, loneliness, isolation, alienation, है ना. क्योंकि मतलब मेरा ना कोई दोस्त था, ना मेरा पेट था. I did not have any companion under the support, and all have gone. But when the cat was reported, when she was supervising the house to be rebuilt by people, at the time a particular woman came and gave back the cat, and this actually helped the writer to tell, my cat was back and so I was. So my dear children, now let us go for the analysis of the lesson. Basing on this discussion, let us go. So here we continue. So initially, my dear children, what we do? We talk about the title. हम क्या बोलते हैं? We talk about the title. T-I-T-L-E. Title का मतलब क्या है? Name of the lesson. तो हम finally क्या बोलते हैं? हाँ, ये title बहुत एप्ट है. एप्ट का मतलब क्या है? Appropriate. A-P-P-R-O-P-R-I-A-T, appropriate, है ना. Means क्या है? Suitable. Means justified. J-U-S-T-I-F-I-D. मतलब क्या है? Just. तो अभी हमको क्या बोलना है कि ये जो टाइटल है ये जस्ट है और लॉजिकल है ना. ये लॉजिकल है. अभी तो हम देखा तो टाइटल के बारे में हम क्या क्या बोलना है. हम इनको बोलना है कि हाँ टाइटल मतलब है ना. या हमको बोलने का मजबूरी नहीं है ना. यू हैव ऑल द लिबर्टी टू क्रिटिसाइज द टाइटल. ना सर, अगर मतलब टाइटल ऐसा होता तब बढ़िया होता. सो यू हैव द राइट. You have the right to go for your own title. But whatever title is there, we'll see this title, whether the title is right or not, whether the title is right or wrong. So objective. Let us go for it. Let us go for the title. So a house is not a home. A house is not a home. So in this lesson, my dear children, a very थीन, वो तो पतला और दुबला सा क्या है, थीन टाइप ऑफ डिफरेंस. ओके, ए थीन टाइप ऑफ डिफरेंस इज गिवन इन बिटवीन व्हाट, इन बिटवीन द हाउस एंड द होम. हाउस एंड द होम. तो हाउस और होम में मतलब क्या चीज मतलब डिफरेंट है. तो हाउस इज ऑल्सो स्ट्रक्चर. ओके, इट इज अ स्ट्रक्चर मेड बाय द ब्रिक, मोर्टर, सीमेंट एंड द अदर. So home is also what? Home is also a house made of what? The same structure. But into the house, what is not there? What is not there? There is no emotion. Can you hear? There is no emotion. There is no emotion, or there is no attachment. Means there is no kind of feeling. But into the home, what happened? So there is a full of emotion. You have the love, sympathy, care of your parents. So you live together with the grandfather or the grandmother. Okay, so you share the sorrows, you share the sadness, you share everything of your life. Means home is a particular house where there is all sort of emotion of happiness, sorrows, everything. Therefore, here also in this lesson we will come to understand how the narrator, how the writer Jan finally got her home. So it is said that home sweet home, मतलब अपना जो घर है वो सबसे मतलब क्या है, प्यारा है. Home sweet home, है ना? Home sweet home, home sweet home. Suppose you are a tourist and you are voyaging or you are traveling throughout the world, and you will find that home is such a place where you have the love, sympathy, emotion, empathy, understanding, all these qualities are there, and therefore you say home is very sweet one. Okay, home sweet home. Let us see now how this home is restored when the house was gutted to fire. Let us go for it. So you see, this is the house. This is the house. This is the writer's house, and it was a Sunday, and the writer was doing the homework, and after that you can see some smoke is coming. Smoke is coming. Okay, इसको मतलब below बोलते हैं. Smoke is billowing out from inside the house. Means the house was in fire. Therefore, you can see the fire service, the policeman, the narrator, and more particularly the mother also will be there. Therefore, the fireman is preventing the narrator from going there. Let us go to the lesson now. Explanation. So first we will be seeing the summary of the lesson. So let us go for the summary. Then it will be very helpful for our understanding of the major content of the lesson. So here we continue. The story relates the experience of the writer after she joins a new high school. So in this story, we come to understand that the writer describes the experience, her own experience after she joins a new school. After her friends have gone to the different schools, and she feels very isolated among the new students and teacher. So this is the problem of the teenager. A new environment is faced by the narrator, and therefore challenges. The challenges. So what are the challenges? The challenges are to adapt. है ना? She often visits the teacher in her old school, and they encourage her to participate in the activities at her new school. So what she felt like? She felt like a fish out of water. She still remembered the old school, and from time to time she visited the old school, and they encourages her that when we will participate in the activity of the school, whether it is a cultural activity or CC activity or any co-curricular activities, then you can easily get attached and adapt it or adjust it to the new environment of the school. They assured that in time she will grow to love her new school better. तो उनके जो मतलब पुराने जो टीचर थे, वो टीचर ने उनको मतलब ऐसा मतलब एश्योरेंस दिया, ऐसा आश्वासन दिया है कि आप जब एक्टिविटी स्कूल का एक्टिविटी में ज्वाइन करेंगे तब ऐसा होगा कि आप वो स्कूल को, नया स्कूल को ज्यादा लाइक करेंगे, ज्यादा पसंद करेंगे. Therefore, let us now come to the story. So we are coming to the starting of the story. One Sunday afternoon, so soon after, the writer is seated on the dining table doing her homework. As it is a cold and windy day, there is fire going on in the fireplace. So the setting here is America. Setting here is America. She studied in one of the American school. In one of the American school. So when she was in the new school, this happened when she was in the new school. Already she is facing the problem of the new school, and again another challenge. Okay, we are introduced to to another challenge. Therefore, we get to what? We get very nervous. So it was a Sunday, and she was seated. She was seated in the dining table, and she was doing her homework. Then the night was a cold night. So it was a day. It was a windy day, and therefore in the fireplace, okay, fireplace को मतलब क्या बोलते हैं? Hearth, H-E-A-R-T, hearth. Yeah, from where the particular place where you put a circle or you put any log of wood in order to keep the fire. उसको fireplace बोला जाता है. तो fire into the fireplace, the fire was going on because it was cold and windy. Therefore, the writer read the tabby cat is lying under the tab on her school paper. The reader is informed that the writer had rescued the cat when it was a kitten, and since then they have had a close relationship. Now we are introduced to the cat. To the cat. What is the sound of the cat? Meow. Meow is the sound, isn't it? So उसको हम purring भी बोलते हैं, P-U-R-R, purring sound. Okay. So this cat, everybody is very much fond of cat, and the writer also was very much fond of cat. And more particularly, why this attachment grew stronger? ये जो प्यार था, ये प्यार किसके लिए मतलब बहुत ज्यादा था? क्योंकि the cat was saved by the narrator when it was a kitten. When it was very small. Then it was saved by the narrator, and therefore the cat also thought that it is this person is my savior, or the person who protected me, and therefore the relationship become very close, tight relationship. Suddenly the writer smells something strange. अभी देखिए ये लेसन में ना strange word बहुत बार यूज किया गया है. कुछ अजीब सा मतलब स्मेल आ रहे थे जो मतलब unknown, unfamiliar है ना, जो normally नहीं होता है. So at that time when she was doing the homework for next Monday, at the time she smelled something very strange. She looked up to the ceiling, see that the smoke is pouring in through the seams, though the smoke was so much smoke was coming out. तो ये सीम जो होता है, सीम का मतलब क्या है? सीम का मतलब है जॉइंट, है ना, JOINT, जॉइंट, है ना. हिंदी में क्या बोलते हैं इसको? दरार बोलते हैं. क्या बोलते हैं? दरार बोलते हैं. मतलब लाइन ऑफ सेपरेशन. तो ये जो लाइन ऑफ सेपरेशन, दरार जो होता है, जॉइंट जो होता है, जॉइंट से मतलब क्या होता है? जॉइंट से मतलब क्या होता है? देयर विल बी सम फोर्स, है ना. क्या होगा? सम फोर्स होगा, मीन्स सम होल होगा, है ना. सम होल होगा, HOLE, है ना. फ्रॉम वेयर द ऑक्सीजन एंड द एयर कैन कम आउट. तो ऐसा मतलब कुछ पोर से, होल से क्या हुआ? जॉइंट का होल से क्या निकाल रहे थे? मतलब some smoke was coming out and it was very strange. It fills the room quickly and they ran out of the house to find out that the fire has engulfed the room. So instantly what the narrator did, the narrator came out of the room into the company of the mother. They went to the neighbor's house, reported the matter that the house was under the fire. They phoned up to the fire service and the fire service was on the way. And in the meantime, what the mother did, mother remembered something and then she entered into the fire of the house in order to bring something very special. Bring the metallic box, more particularly the frame, the picture frame, and this picture frame is also the picture of the father who is no more. So now, my dear children, you see how emotional this lesson is. When the writer runs to the neighbor's house to call the fire department, her mother runs back into the house. So writer अभी गया, writer और the narrator जैन ने कहा गया नेबर का घर में गया. जाने के बाद नेबर को मतलब रिपोर्ट कर दिया कि देखो भाई मेरा घर जो है घर में आग लग गया. Then the mother went back into the fire. Mother endangered her own life. Challenged the fire and then went inside it because of some very precious things were there in the house that is to be protected, that is to be saved. Therefore, let us go to the next. The writer's mother returns with a metal box that has important document and then runs back in. The writer knows that she has gone to collect the picture of her father who has passed away when she was young. Now see, the writer had all the sorrows of her life. So the father died when she was very young. When she was very young, at the time that the father died, so some of the memories of the father, including the picture of the father, the portrait, the picture of the father, the photograph of the father was there inside the house, and that was to be saved by the mother, and therefore daring the fire, she went inside the house. She knows that the pictures are all that her mother has left of him. So these pictures of the father are the only link with the father, and therefore it is not to be lost. The writer tries to run into the house after her mother, but is restrained by a fireman. By this time, the street is so full of the truck. So when the mother went inside, the son also wanted to go there, but obstructed by a fireman to go inside. She tells him that her mother is into the house, and he assures her that the other firemen have gone into the house to rescue her. He wraps her in a blanket and makes her sit in a car. So that particular fireman who prevented her from going inside the house was telling that there are other firemen who will go inside the house in order to save her mother. Therefore, you should not worry about her. Therefore, now I am putting the wet blanket. I am putting the blanket over you so that you feel comfortable, and you go to your car and sit there comfortably. And let us do our own business. So in the meantime, we see that the street was full with the car, and all these buses and cars were related to the fire service. Therefore, let us see the next. Soon enough, a fireman emerges with the writer's mother. The writer is relieved and runs to her mother and hugs her. So when the mother, after a few moments, was rescued by a fireman, she ran toward the mother, that she is at least rescued, and she hugs the mother. She feels that the happiness of that particular moment has washed over all the time she had argued with her mother and hated her. Let us see these lines once again. She feels that the happiness of that particular moment has washed over all the time she has argued with her mother and hated her. So now new challenge start. So let us see what is the new challenge. It takes 5 hours to douse the fire and the house appears almost completely destroyed. Douse का मतलब क्या है? It takes 5 hours to douse. Douse का मतलब है control. और जब फायर होता है तब क्या होगा? Put out, है ना? Put out. आग बुझाना. Put out. कितना टाइम लगा? 5 घंटा लगा. It takes 5 hours to douse or put out the fire, and this was done by all the firemen. All the firemen were very smart people and were very active, and they with consistent effort they control or they put out the fire within 5 hours, and the house appears almost completely destroyed. So after that what happened? So it was the fire first which destroyed the house, and whatever was left over, that was destroyed by the water that was sprinkled over it in order to put out the fire. At this time the writer remembers her cat and realizes that it is nowhere to be found. यही एक घड़ी थे, यही एक मोमेंट थे, जो मोमेंट में राइटर ने एक चीज मतलब रिकलेक्ट किया, एक चीज रिमेंबर किया. उसका याद में आया कि मेरा जो कैट है वो कैट भी मिसिंग है. उनका जो चैलेंज है और डबल हो गया. चैलेंज मतलब क्या हुआ? मल्टीप्लाई हो गया, कई गुना ज्यादा हो गया, है ना. देखिए उनका पापा नहीं, उनका मतलब क्लास मतलब चेंज हो गया, स्कूल चेंज हो गया, न्यू एटमॉस्फेयर है. अपना जो घर है वो घर भी मतलब क्या हो गया? अभी नहीं हो गया. ओके, वो भी मतलब बर्न्ट आउट हो गया. एंड नाउ द कैट आल्सो इज नॉट बिफोर. cat is very dear to the narrator, and that was not found, and that actually compounded her worries. उनका जो दुख था, उनका जो चिंता था, वो मतलब क्या हो गया? कई गुना बढ़ गया. She becomes overwhelmed by the feeling of loss. ये जो feeling sense of loss जो था, वो loss मतलब क्या था? Uncontrollable हुआ. Overwhelming मतलब इतना जोरदार, इतना तगड़ा हुआ कि उसको कंट्रोल करना एकदम नामुमकिन जैसा हो गया. Her old school, her friend, her old teacher, her home, and now her cat. Now see, these are the loss, all loss. All the losses. So the school is lost, friend is lost, teacher is lost, new home lost. Okay, and now the cat also is lost. You see, all round losses. Although she doesn't want to live without knowing what happens to her cat, the fireman announces that it is not safe to go into the house. Now देखिए, now she told everybody that it is not better for me if I cannot find out or search out the cat, and therefore she wanted to go into the house once again in search of the cat. But other people, particularly the firemen, thought that no, it is not good for her to go inside the house. It will be very dangerous. Therefore, she was persuaded. उनको मतलब बोला गया है कि अभी बेटा उधर नहीं जाना है. ओके, हम लोग उनको खोज लेंगे. Okay, we'll search it out. You don't worry. You now accompany your mother to go to the grandfather's house. Thus, with just the clothes they were wearing and the blankets given by the fireman, the writer and her mother make their way to the grandparents' house to spend the night. Now see, the house was lost now. So the only resort for them was to the grandfather's house, where they can take shelter. Therefore, they decided to go to the grandpa's house, and therefore both of them started their journey to the grandfather's house, which was maybe at a distance of some kilometers. Okay. Now let us continue. So let us go. The next day, the writer's mother forces her to go to school. The writer doesn't want to go because she is very embarrassed. So the next day was Monday. So the mothers usually are very much concerned about the education of the other children, and therefore the mother forces her. Mother ने उनको केवल persuade ही नहीं किया, बेटा जाओ, है ना? उनको जोरदार बोला कि हाँ बेटा आपको जाना ही पड़ेगा, है ना? क्योंकि स्कूल इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, एजुकेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, आपको स्कूल जाना पड़ेगा. बट शी वॉज नॉट विलिंग टू गो, क्योंकि जब बच्चे के पास ड्रेस नहीं है तब क्या करेंगे? सो शी विल फील टोटली एम्बेरस्ड. एम्बेरस्ड इज अ पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन, okay, particular situation where you do not know how to behave. Means it is again a very strange kind of atmosphere. It is again एक अजीब सा ऐसा एक फीलिंग है. कैसा करेंगे? She is still wearing the dress she wore the day before and had to borrow the tennis shoes from her aunt. She did not have the dress. She was wearing the same dress that she was wearing the previous day, and she borrowed the tennis shoes from her aunt, and with all this she was prepared to go to school. She has lost her book, her homework, and her backpack into the fire. So she lost what? She lost everything. She lost her book, she lost her companion, she lost her homework, and she lost her life support also. Backpack means life support in the fire. Life support means all the thing that support her life, that is called the backpack. Okay? जैसे कि हमारा कंप्यूटर में, मोबाइल में, मतलब जैसा है ना बैकअप करते हैं, वो लाइफ का भी मतलब कुछ बैकअप होता है ना? वो मतलब क्या है? बैकपैक होता है, लाइफ सपोर्ट होता है. She feels very self-conscious because she knows that instead of bending in, this incident will cause her to stick out like a sore thumb. At school, she felt lost and completely out of place. So, my dear children, इधर जो फीलिंग है ना, ये फीलिंग का मतलब हम एक वर्ड लिखते हैं, गर्ल. आप देखेंगे आर्टिस्ट का मतलब ना, जो पिक्चर है वो पिक्चर मतलब देखेंगे कि मतलब एक टीनेजर बॉय है, ओके, एक टीनेजर बॉय और गर्ल है ना, वो क्या कर रहे हैं मतलब ना, his or her head below, the knees are folded, and in this way what he or she is showing, that nothing can be done now. She or he is very much lost. ऐसा फीलिंग मतलब क्या है? ऐसा फीलिंग मतलब टीनेजर के पास है, curling up मतलब with a folded hand and legs, okay, totally confined into herself. Therefore, when she went to the school, she does not know how to behave. She was just like a zombie. She was just like a zombie and felt like curling up. And she actually felt like a person who is out of place. A person who is out of place. Out of place. Therefore, she wanted to curl up. She wanted to curl up and then die. Then let us see what follows. She goes to her old house after the school and is pained to see that only the pictures and the documents rescued by her mother have survived in the fire. So the school was over. She again visited the site of the previous old house, and she could notice or discover that only some of the few precious documents and the precious pictures, valuable pictures particularly pertaining to her father, was survived. Once again she longs for her cat. ये longs for का meaning क्या है? Longs for का मतलब है STRONG, strong desire. Strong desire है ना? Once again, at this particular moment also, she was only desiring for the cat. She had a strong desire for the cat. However, there is no time for grief, as they need to find a new house and buy new clothes for the school. Eventually, they rent an apartment near their old house. The writer visits her old house in the hope of finding her cat. She misses her cat terribly and remembers the time they had spent together. So now, there is no time for the grief. There is no time for expressing the sorrow. SORRO. ग्रीफ और रिपेंटेंस जो होता है पछताना, है ना, रिग्रेट करना, काइंड ऑफ रिग्रेट, RAGRAT, रिग्रेट. So there is no time for the regret or the grief, because they needed to find a new house, that too the rented house, and they needed some of the utensils and the clothes for their survival. Therefore, what she did, she once again she misses her cat very terribly, because her association with the cat frequently comes to her mind. Therefore, let us continue now. Here we go. The writer realized that everyone in her school has come to know of the fire. She felt embarrassed by the attention people give her. The next day, people gather around the writer and ask her to hurry up and head to the gym class. So it is the next day. Everyone in the school come to know about the tragedy. About the tragedy means the catastrophe, the fire. About the tragedy related to fire. She feels embarrassed by the attention people give her. Now, when people give you attention in a wrong way, what is the kind of the feeling? You feel like a fish out of water. You feel very discomfort. You feel very much embarrassed. That is the embarrassed kind of the feeling. You cannot express what to behave or how to behave. This is the kind of the feeling. Means people are giving attention in a wrong way, and this actually causes her embarrassment. The next day, the people gather around to the writer and ask her to hurry up and head to gym class. So people around her came forward and wanted to accompany her to the gym class. She finds it strange, but upon reaching the gym, she sees that a table has been set up and piled with school supplies, notebook and clothes. All of it all of it for her. Now after reaching to the gym, to her surprise, she found an almirah. She found a particular table or an almirah in which she could see all the things are very much piled up, and this included the school supplies, means the textbook, notebook and other books, okay, other utensils related to it. There are the clothes, there are the clothes for her, and she was very much surprised. Strangers introduce themselves to her and even invite her to their homes. So the strangers, the unfamiliar people came to her. Okay, unfamiliar people came to her and then invited her to their houses. This heartfelt gesture touches her heart and she finally feels so hopeful about her situation. Now, we can notice that the previous situation was little hopeless situation, means there is no hope at all, desperate kind of situation. But now when all sort of greeting and all sort of warm reception and all sort of invitations are given by the strangers, it appears that life has come back, and now she begins to feel like to her own self, feel like to be in her own self. At last she makes a new friend. Therefore, this also gives the opportunity of making new friend when the stranger introduced her and invited her and showed a lot of empathy, a lot of sympathy, a lot of emotion and feeling. And in this way, this tragedy also give an opportunity to make new friends. Let us see the next now. A month later, the writer is at the site of her old house with the two of her new friends, watching her house being built. 1 month passed. So the writer or the narrator, Jen, into the company of two of her friends, went there to supervise, went there to oversee or watch over, supervise the house. The house is been rebuilt. She realized that because of the fire incident, she was able to break through her insecurity and embrace the wonderful things and people around her. So many times the tragedy also brings some opportunity, and this is also the case with Jan also. This fire tragedy also gave the opportunity to make new friends. She could embrace the wonderful life. Once again, she realized that just like the house, her life too is being rebuilt. Okay, देखिए उनका घर भी बन रहे थे और उनका जो जीवन थे वो जीवन भी मतलब धीरे धीरे बन रहे। जीवन में मतलब क्या चीज है? जीवन में तो है मतलब फ्रेंड है, जीवन में रिलेशन है, जीवन में रिकॉग्निशन है, ऑनर है, रेस्पेक्ट है, लव, सिंपैथी एंड अदर, एंड all this now slowly and gradually was going to be rebuilt as the house was being rebuilt. Let us see now. At this moment, a woman came to the writer holding her lost cat. तो अभी देखिए कुछ गजब सा हो गया है ना. So ऐसा होता है कि when good thing happens to one, other good things also follow. So the house was being rebuilt. Good. She could get a new friend. Alright. The stranger became friend to her. Alright. So she was also the point of the attention for the other children in the school. Alright. More particularly that the lost cat is also back. That the women came to the writer or the narrator. The writer jumps up with joy and takes the cat into her arms. The writer was overjoyed to see the cat and then grab it and put it in her lap. She learned that her cat had been so scared by the fire that she ran over a mile ago. उनको यह जानकारी हुआ कि कैट ने फायर देखने के बाद वो बहुत मतलब डर गए थे. She was very much scared. Okay, बहुत मतलब क्या हुआ था, dreadful हुए थे, मतलब बहुत डर गए थे. And because of that she went a mile away from that particular house. Although the cat's collar had the owner's phone number on it, the phone had been destroyed into the fire. देखिए कैट का कॉलर में मतलब क्या था, ओनर का फोन नंबर था, और जो फोन जो था, जो लैंडलाइन फोन था, that is actually gutted or destroyed into the fire. This kind of woman took the cat in and also made the effort to locate its original owner. Now, this woman is a very kind woman, and she took the effort or the pain in order to search out the owner of the cat and then gave it back to its original owner. After locating or after searching out the original owner. When the writer sits with her friend and reflects on everything that has happened, she realizes that the feeling of loss and tragedy that she has been struggling with have begun to diminish. So now is the time for recollection. Okay, remember. So now the narrator, Jan, or the writer, got everything back. She got back to the cat. She got back to the house, a new house. She got back to the support, the friendship, and all that. And when they were remembering the kind of the feeling of the loss and the tragedy that occurred to her, they also realized that that particular feeling is going to be diminished. It is going to be decrease, है ना? ये decrease होने लगा, ये धीरे धीरे minimize, कम होने लगा. Instead, she felt an immense sense of gratitude for all the blessings. She had her seat, her life, her new friends, a stranger's kindness, and the purring of the cat. So, जब उनका दुख का जो घड़ी है वो मतलब कमी होने लगा, तब उनको मतलब ऐसा मतलब इमेंस एक फीलिंग हुआ, एक ग्रेट फीलिंग हुआ, सेंस ऑफ ग्रेटिट्यूड. ग्रेटिट्यूड का मतलब है ग्रेटफुलनेस. सेंस ऑफ ग्रेटफुलनेस से मतलब हुआ सभी के ऊपर, मतलब सो क्या हुआ, ग्रेटिट्यूड, सेंस ऑफ ग्रेटिट्यूड मतलब सो आभारी हो सभी के ऊपर. किसके ऊपर? So she was a gratitude for all the wonderful people, wonderful friends, life, the cat, and the kindness given by known and the unknown people. So, my dear children, so I suppose you understood the lesson, and this is the time for going to the MCQ. And before going to the MCQ, it is time for going to some of the critical things. Okay, so once again we'll see the title, how far this title is appropriate. The title of the chapter tells about the difference between house and home. A house is a physical structure, a home is a shelter, a place where people live together, sharing their ups and downs, supporting each other, and spreading love and cheer. Therefore, a home is much more than a house made of bricks and mortar. Therefore, mathematically speaking, so when we talk about a home and house, so home is greater than what? House. क्योंकि सो हाउस में जितना चीज मतलब रहता है, होम में भी वो सारे चीज रहते हैं, लेकिन उसके बावजूद besides all this, what is there? There is the support, there is the Sympathy, empathy, love, feeling, share, feeling, emotion, everything is there in the home. That means this feeling is the extra bonus in the home. तो ये जानना my dear children is very very important. So setting हम क्या बोले थे? So this setting of the lesson is America. The story is set in a small town in America where the writer lived with her mother. So the writer lived with her mother in a small city in America, and this is where the house was gutted into fire, where she got all the attention and the care of the stranger into the new school and the surrounding. अभी देखते हैं एक let us see the theme. The story traces the problem that one faces when an older way of living comes crashing down, forcing one to rebuild a life from scratch. It examines how a seemingly tough situation can be turned into an advantageous one with the right attitude. Finally, let us see the masses. The story highlighted the importance of keeping an open mind and not being depressed by the problem and challenges that are an important part of life. So when we define life, life is the combination of happiness and sorrows. Happiness and sorrows. Therefore, how one is to behave when sadness or sorrows occur, then the person should be open-minded, he should share, he should not be depressed or disappointed, he should share the same so that the same feeling can be shared by the other and the helping hand can be offered in order to solve the problem. So my dear children, this is the end of the lesson. I suppose you understood the lesson well, and in another part of the lesson we'll try to see the MCQ of this lesson. Today let us conclude this lesson here, and we promise to meet you again very soon with a new video. Till then, bye bye and have a very good day.